Simón Bolivar was born on July 24, 1783, in Caracas, Venezuela, to a wealthy Creole family. His parents, Don Juan Vicente Bolivar y Ponte and Dona María de la Concepción Palacios y Blanco, were both of Spanish descent and were well-respected members of the Caracas aristocracy. Bolivar was educated by tutors, and in 1798, he was sent to Spain to continue his education. While in Spain, he studied history, literature, and politics and became interested in the Enlightenment ideals of freedom and democracy. He also witnessed firsthand the decline of the Spanish Empire and the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte. In 1802, Bolivar returned to Venezuela and married María Teresa Rodríguez del Toro y Alesa. However, tragedy struck when she died of yellow fever only a year later, along with many other members of Bolivar's family. In 1810, Bolivar became involved in the movement for Venezuelan independence from Spain. He was a member of the Caracas Junta, a group of Creoles who sought to establish a provisional government in the wake of the abdication of the Spanish King Ferdinand VII. However, the junta was quickly overthrown by Spanish loyalists, and Bolivar was forced to flee to neighboring Colombia. It was there that Bolivar met Francisco de Miranda, a Venezuelan revolutionary who had fought for the United States in the American Revolution. Under Miranda's influence, Bolivar became even more committed to the cause of Latin American independence. In 1813, he returned to Venezuela and launched a campaign that resulted in the capture of Caracas and the establishment of the Venezuelan Republic. However, the tide turned against Bolivar when he suffered a devastating defeat at the Battle of La Puerta in June of that year. Bolivar was forced to flee to Jamaica, where he wrote his famous Jamaica Letter, in which he laid out his vision for a united Latin America. Bolivar returned to Venezuela in 1816 and began a campaign that ultimately led to the liberation of Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia. He was a brilliant military strategist, and his victories at Boyaca, Pichincha, and Ayacucho ensured the independence of much of South America. Throughout his military campaigns, Bolivar became increasingly convinced that a united Latin America was necessary for the region's prosperity and stability. He saw the newly independent states as vulnerable to foreign intervention and believed that a united Latin America would be stronger and more prosperous. In 1825, Bolivar called for the Congress of Panama, a meeting of Latin American leaders to discuss the possibility of a united Latin America. However, the meeting was a failure, and Bolivar was increasingly disillusioned with the region's political leaders. Bolivar resigned as president of Gran Colombia in 1830 and retired to a hacienda in Colombia. He died there on December 17, 1830, at the age of 47. The exact cause of his death is still a matter of debate, but it is believed that he suffered from tuberculosis. Simón Bolivar is remembered as a hero and a visionary in Latin America. His vision of a united Latin America has inspired generations of Latin Americans to work towards regional integration and cooperation. Bolivar's legacy continues to shape the politics and culture of Latin America to this day. Throughout his life, Simón Bolivar achieved many important milestones, including the establishment of the Venezuelan Republic in 1813, the liberation of Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia from Spanish colonial rule, the creation of Gran Colombia, a federation of several South American states, in 1819, the writing of the Bolivian Constitution in 1826, which abolished slavery and established universal suffrage, the establishment of the Peru-Bolivian Confederation in 1836, which sought to unite Peru and Bolivia into a single country. Simón Bolivar is widely regarded as a hero in Latin America, and his legacy continues to influence the region to this day. Some of his key contributions to Latin America include the establishment of independent republics in South America, which put an end to centuries of Spanish colonial rule, the promotion of democracy and freedom, which became the basis for the region's political systems, the advocacy for regional integration, which has led to the creation of organizations such as the Union of South American Nations UNASUR and the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States CELAC, the inspiration he has provided to future generations of Latin Americans to strive for social justice and equality. However, Bolivar's legacy is also a subject of controversy. Some critics argue that his vision of a united Latin America was too idealistic and ultimately failed to materialize. Others point to his authoritarian tendencies and his involvement in the suppression of indigenous rebellions and the African slave trade. Regardless of these criticisms, Simón Bolívar remains an iconic figure in Latin American history, and his legacy continues to shape the region's political and cultural landscape. Simón Bolívar was a visionary leader who played a pivotal role in the liberation of South America from Spanish colonial rule. His commitment to freedom, democracy, and regional integration has inspired generations of Latin Americans to strive for a better future. Bolívar's legacy is complex and multifaceted, but his contributions to the region cannot be overstated. Today, Simón Bolívar is remembered as a hero and an icon in Latin America. And his legacy continues to influence the region in profound ways.